I grabbed a free pallet for this genius garden hack. I used a hammer to remove some of the boards carefully. I left the nails in the boards so that I could use them again. I made 3 rows with 3 boards tight together on the bottom row, 2 boards together in the middle, and 2 boards near the top. The pallet was taller than I wanted, so I used a reciprocating saw to cut the extra off. I flipped the pallet over and followed the same pattern with 3 boards together on the bottom, 2 in the middle, and 2 at the top. I used all the leftover boards from this pallet, plus a couple extra scrap 1x4s. I cut more 1x4s to fill in the bottom of each section and secured it with 3 nails on the front, and then I flipped it over and I hammered in 3 nails on the back side. I gave the front a quick sand with 120 grit sandpaper using my palm sander. Next, I filled each section with soil and planted my favorite herbs. I used my Cricut to print stencils to paint labels for each section. When applying the stencil, I first sealed it with Mod Podge, and then I let it dry before painting with acrylic paint. Once the paint was near dry, I removed the vinyl and did some touch-ups with my black acrylic paint pen. And now I have the most beautiful herb garden that can also be hung on the wall. I hope this inspired you to create your own pallet herb garden.
I rescued a free pallet to hide an eyesore on the side of our house. First, I spruced it up with leftover cedar stain. While that dried, I cleared out dead weeds and last year's raspberry canes. Before digging, I made sure the utility lines were marked. Safety first when working around a gas meter. I drove 2 T-posts into the ground to frame the meter and used decking screws to secure the pallet to the posts. To turn the pallet into a functional trellis, I added pairs of gold decking screws along the horizontal slats at the top, middle, and bottom. I ran metal wire between each set of screws, wrapping the ends tightly with pliers to avoid sharp edges. Finally, I wove the new raspberry canes through the wires. Now the raspberries are supported, the meter is hidden, but the gas man can still easily access everything he needs.
I've got this one section in the front of my house, and it's kind of an eyesore as you see from the street. First, I'm going to take what's called a 2x3, and I'm going to set it up next to it, and I want to mark it just a little bit taller than the electrical panel that I want to cover. Next, I'm going to take a speed square and use it to mark a straight line across the board. This is a perfect tool for this job. Next, I can take a jigsaw or a handsaw and cut the board straight across the line. What I need to do this is 2 boards of the same length. So I'm going to use a speed square again, mark a line, and I'm going to get it cut straight across. Once I got these 2 just straight and nice and cut, I'm going to lay them on a table. And I need to take a lattice that I cut to the right width and set that up on the boards. I'm going to situate them just perfect toward the right to the edge, and then I'm going to use some staples to put them in place. Staples will hold a lot better than nails because it grabs more of the area on top. I'm going to work my way down on one side, putting the staples in, and then I'm going to go to the other side, pull it tight, and do the same thing with the staples and put those in. I also want to make sure that I cut out for the meter. That way it can be read. So I'm going to sit it up right next to where it goes. I'm going to mark the 4 lines that go around the lattice. I'm then going to bring it back over to the table, mark those across, and I need to cut them with the jigsaw. Just an easy cut all around the side there will make it to where the meter will stick through. Little mistake, I should have painted this board before I put the lattice on, but I didn't, I forgot. So I'm just going to give it a nice coat of paint, do the best I can, no drips, and put it in place. While that paint's drying, next I'm going to take a cedar board for fence pickets and I'm going to make a little box with it. These are really nice and neat. I can put those together. They're 24 inches wide. And again, like I said, I'm going to build a box. So I'm going to put the 3 sides together using brad nails, and then I'm going to put some end pieces on. I should have probably used some wood glue also to hold it together, but it was a smaller box and it went on great. Once I got it put together, I'm going to put some screws on the sides towards the bottom of it, and then I will stick it on there and go ahead and also screw it from the back. Now I need to secure this to the side of the building just using 2 small screws. I'm going to go ahead and put some dirt in there because I need to put a planter. Now, the side of this house gets super hot. Anything I plant will probably die, so I'm going to use some fake plants, put those up, and run some vines up there. What this does is it turned it into a beautiful side piece that covers the meter panel, but as you can see, I did cut out the side there to allow the meter to be read anytime it needs to. I think it turned out great, and it looks really awesome.
This is the most useful thing you can do with a pallet. This pallet was a bit long, so I trimmed off the top and removed an extra board and screwed that extra board to the bottom of the pallet. Next, I used 150 grit sandpaper to quickly sand the pallet. I placed it on a spacer to help hold it up, and then I fastened it to the side of our shed with screws, making sure it was level. I removed the spacer and loaded it up with my garden and yard tools. This is what the side of my shed looked like before, and this is how organized it is with my new DIY pallet tool organizer. What do you think? I hope this inspires you to get organized with pallets.
Last week I walked out of my office and there they were right in the hallway. Some really good pallets, and they were in great shape, and it gave me a great idea on how to get ready for the spring. First thing I did was lay it down and start cutting around the edges. It's easier to take a pallet apart when you cut off the edges first because that's less nails you have to go through. On the middle section, just take a crowbar, hammer it in, and you're going to pull it up. Don't pull too hard. You want to do it from both sides. Now all you got to do is take out the nails. They're easy to do. Just lay it on a table, tap on one side, use the bar on the other, and pull it out. Once you get all of your nails pulled, you're going to have a nice big pile of wood to use. You can sand them down now or keep them raw looking like this. Next step is to grab some crates from Michael's. These are perfect, nice and smooth. I'm going to take 2 of these and glue them together. What you want to do is get your glue down and don't go thin on it, and then use your finger to spread it out. That's going to make it adhere to the other crates really nice. These are going to come in 2 pairs. So we're going to take this one and set another one on top. Lay it down. Make sure you get it lined up just right. We want it perfectly straight. And then use clamps to hold them together while the glue dries. Only takes a couple of hours. I did cheat on this one. I used a nail on the side to hold it together. Once you get your 2 pairs, you're going to space them apart. Take 3 of your boards from the pallet and lay those out. And we're going to use those to hold our 2 pairs of crates together. I can use screws or brad nails. I use brad nails because they're easier for me, but screws work just as fine. Go ahead and go around. Now I set up on sawhorses because I'm ready to put the legs on. Now I'm going to take that pallet wood and I'm going to square up the ends. These are going to be the legs. I'm going to set this on one side, facing on the side of the pallets to put them in. And then I will take the front, the same length, and put it there, glue and nail. Now, the support boards for the pallet, I'm going to screw those in the back because I want more of a backdrop on the top of this table. Now it's time for more glue. We're going to put this on top of the crates because I want to build a table. Again, I'm going to use pallet wood. Just take the glue and spread it out. On the pallet boards, I cut one piece, just enough to have a little bit of an overhang, and then I put a little piece in between. I didn't want the table to be too wide and stick out. Once I get it all glued down, I just took those brad nails and put them into place. Now, these are just holding it while the glue sets up and it's going to be super strong. Now it's time to work on the back. Wanted to make sure it wasn't too tall, but I took some of that pallet wood and nailed it into the sides. Now you can do it however you want. This is going to be your project. What I did was I put these on, but I left some space in between. So this one I went ahead and nailed, put it on top, and then the next one I just put right below just to give it a little bit of a different look. Once it's up, it's time to put some hanging hooks on. These are easy to do. Just screw them right into the boards. Now, let's put this thing in place, and I went to Dollar Tree and grabbed a bunch of items for only $1. This is our potting board right here. I'm going to put the potting soil right in, and this allows me to work right there at the table, potting my plants. Everything that you're going to see right here, it just turned out great. And all of this stuff I bought from Dollar Tree. It looks amazing. And it's just the right height if you want to bring those little ones out to plant those happy little flowers. I think this project turned out great, and it was inexpensive and easy to do. I hope this inspired you to build your own DIY potting station. Thank you for watching Home Talk, and we'll catch you next time.